Good evening all. Today's topic is glycemic goal achievement, choosing an insulin for total control. This is my financial disclosure, and today's agenda is: one is total control of T2DM, role of insulin co-formulation, and second one is 2-in-1 solution, convenience of insulin co-formulation, and third one is my experience, a case of T2DM uncontrolled on multiple OADs. Coming to the first part, insulin initiation. The study was conducted on insulin naive patients with T2DM. Number of subjects were selected 296, and the study was conducted from 0 to 26 weeks. And which insulin to choose when patients are uncontrolled on OADs? There are two options: IDEC as OD along with existing OADs, and Iglar U100 OD along with existing OADs. 147 patients were put on IDA gas OD plus existing OADs, and 149 patients were put on Iglar U100 plus existing OADs. And coming to the results after 26 weeks, there is superior HbA1c reduction with IDA gas compared to the Iglar U100. See this right side of the graph. On x-axis there is HbA1c, and y-axis and time in weeks, and IDA gas is represented with blue color, and gray color represents the Iglar U100, and there is a 1.4% superior reduction, HbA1c reduction with IDA gas. And compared to the coming to the fasting plasma glucose, there is similar fasting plasma glucose control with both IDA gas and Iglar U100, because IDA gas contains 70% of the degludec as a basal component. It will control the fasting plasma glucose as compared with the Iglar U100. And coming to the right side graph, this graph shows the blood glucose levels before breakfast and 90 minutes after breakfast, before lunch, 90 minutes after lunch, before dinner, 90 minutes after dinner. And before dinner and 90 minutes after dinner, and bedtime at early morning 4 hours and before breakfast. And both IDA gas and Iglar U100 significantly controls the fasting plasma glucose, but there is postprandial excursion, post-dinner excursion of the glucose, which was not addressed by the basal insulin Iglar U100. This was taken care by the IDA gas, which significantly controls the post-dinner excursion of the glucose at approximately 57 milligrams per deciliter. And coming to the hypos, there is lower risk of hypos, approximately 27% of less incidence of hypoglycemia with IDA gas compared to the Iglar U100. In patients uncontrolled on OADs, insulin initiation but must offer better efficacy without compromising on safety. First graph shows insulin glargine, that is Iglar U100. 25% of patients who are put on Iglar U100 achieved HbA1c less than 7% without hypos, and 43% of patients who are put on IDA gas achieved HbA1c less than 7% without hypos, and p-value is less than 0.01%, which is very significant. So with IDA gas, 72% more patients achieve their targets without experiencing hypoglycemia than once a day Iglar. Coming to the second part, 2-in-1 solution, convenience of the insulin co-formulation. Options for insulin intensification: co-formulation versus basal plus bolus therapy, and 532 patients with type 2 diabetes uncontrolled on basal insulin, and study was conducted from 0 weeks to 38 weeks with IDA gas once a day with existing OIDs, and Iglar U100 plus IAS once a day plus existing OIDs for 26 weeks. Later on, intensification was done up to 38 weeks. By intensification with ida gas once a day to twice a day along with existing OIDs up to 26 weeks, and Iglar U100 once a day plus IAS once a day to twice a day or thrice a day with existing OIDs from 26 to 38 weeks. We will see the results at the end of the treatment after 26 weeks. So coming to the HbA1c, so there is no much difference with the ida gas and Iglar U100 plus IASP, that is basal plus. So there is almost similar reduction of HbA1c with both. So similar HbA1c reduction, that is 1.1% HbA1c reduction with ida gas and basal plus regimen. Coming to the insulin dose, total daily actual insulin dose was less with ida gas compared to the basal plus. So there is a less than 12% significantly lesser dose requirement with ida gas compared with basal plus regimen. And coming to the nocturnal hypos, so the number of hypos was very much less with ida gas compared with the Iglar plus IAS, that is basal plus regimen. That is 45% less incidence of hypos at 26 weeks with ida gas and 39% of less incidence of hypos at 38 weeks with ida gas. That is significantly lower risk of nocturnal hypos, that is 45% lower risk of nocturnal hypos with ida gas. Then coming to this power of single solution, this is co-formulated injection ida gas, contains insulin degludec 70% and 30% of the insulin aspart in one injection, prevents the multiple injections like basal plus regimen contains two separate injections, so it reduces the number of injections. So practical recommendation, administered once a day ida gas with largest meal of the day. Initiate with 10 units of ida gas once a day with the most carbohydrate heavy meal of the day. This is ida gas initiation. So weekly titration using a simple algorithm. So if the fasting plasma glucose is above the target, you have to increment the dose by 2 units. If the fasting plasma glucose is at the target, you have to maintain the same dose. If the fasting plasma glucose is below the target, you have to decrement the dose by 2 units. So identify your patient's fasting plasma glucose target and adjust the ida gas dose every week by 2 unit increments or decrements until fasting plasma glucose target is met. So this is the device, FlexTrust device of the ida gas, a unique insulin delivery device. So see the device is very much visible, that is it has got a large easy to read scale and end of the dose confirmation for the patient contents, and there is easy touch button with low injection force, the only pre-filled insulin pen with no push button extension, so even older people can inject very easily with this pen. So coming to my experience, a case of T2DM uncontrolled on multiple OADs. So case is a 45 years old male by name Venkatramana, software engineer, had diabetes since the last 10 years and he has almost sedentary lifestyle. His body weight is 90 kilograms and BMI is 32 kilograms per meter square, and his HbA1c is 9.6% and his fasting plasma glucose is 210 milligrams per deciliter, postprandial glucose is 360 milligrams per deciliter, and his blood pressure is 150/90 millimeters of mercury, and his creatinine is 1.2 milligrams per deciliter, and EGFR is 73 ml per minute, and other relevant parameters are has abnormal lipids, that is his triglycerides are high, and triglycerides are 310 milligrams per deciliter, and LDL is 124 milligrams per deciliter. So coming to the history, medical history including the comorbidities. So he has hypertension for the last 8 years along with the uncontrolled diabetes, and he has dyslipidemia, abnormal lipids as I said previous slide, and and he has obese, grade 1 obese. So these are all comorbidities, and he has sedentary lifestyle. And coming to the drug history, he is taking tablet metformin 500 mg twice a day, and tablet glimepiride 2 mg twice a day, and alpha glucosidase inhibitor voglibose 0.3 mg twice a day, and DP4 inhibitor linagliptin 5 mg once a day. And for the hypertension, he is taking tablet telmisartan 40 mg once a day plus samlodipine 5 mg once a day. And for his lipids, dyslipidemia, he is taking rosuvastatin 10 mg once a day at bedtime, and he is taking tablet methylcobalamin 1500 mcg once a day. This is his drug history. And other relevant history is he is a chronic smoker. He smokes 10 to 15 cigarettes a day for the last 10 to 15 years, and he is alcoholic from the last 15 years. So coming to the patient concerns, a patient concerns is one is obesity, second one is uncontrolled diabetes mellitus and uncontrolled hypertension and abnormal lipids, and needs for simplicity and simple and convenience drugs for to control is blood sugars and blood pressure. Coming to the treatment interventions, lifestyle interventions and any special advice. Coming to the lifestyle intervention, one is diet and exercise plays a major role in control of diabetes and reduction of weight and cessation of smoking and cessation of alcohol, and these are all play a very important role in control of diabetes, hypertension, and management of the dyslipidemia. Because he has a sedentary lifestyle, he has to do exercise for at least 1 hour, walking for 1 hour a day. And coming to the special advice, to prevent the diabetes related microvascular and macrovascular complications, he has to his blood sugars and blood pressure should be controlled, under control. Coming to the medications, so I will increase the metformin dose to 1000 mg twice a day, and along with the voglibose I will make it thrice a day, and linagliptin was continued, and glimepiride was continued. And to control his blood sugars, I will initiate the insulin, once a day insulin, that is Ida-Gasp 10 units with dinner, being the largest meal of the day as per the patient, and later the dose was titrated to 10 units twice a day. And my next add option would be SGLT2 inhibitor, empagliflozin 25 milligrams once a day. Nowadays combinations came into the work, that SGLT2 inhibitor plus linagliptin, that is empagliflozin plus linagliptin 25 mg plus 5 mg, that is Glixambi. These are available. This is my next option to, in view of his weight, body weight and sedentary lifestyle, and to control his uncontrolled diabetes. And coming to the hypertension, I will advise him low salt diet, and I will add 12.5 mg of the chlorthalidor to this patient along with telmisartan 40 mg and amlodipine 5 mg. I will escalate the dose of rosuvastatin to 20 mg, and I will add phenofibrate 160 mg to control his triglycerides and increased LDL. and key points discussed during the patient counseling for insulin initiation. So, counseling is most important. Counseling regarding the importance of the timely insulin initiation and regarding the hypoglycemia and insulin techniques, how to take, where to take, when to take, and how to optimize and how to intensify the insulin dose. Coming to the major meal chosen and how, he takes a normal breakfast and a packed working lunch as he is a software engineer, and takes a large dinner. So this will be decided by home monitoring of the blood glucose, or by simply by self monitoring of blood glucose by glucometer will clinch you which is the major meal. And coming to the device chosen and why, so I will use flex touch pen, use and throw pen of Idagasp, that is Rhizodec, which is very easy to administer and ease of use, ease of convenience, and virtually painless. And rationale for initial Idagasp dose. So usually we start with the 10 units with major meal and keep escalating the dose by 2 to 4 units once in 3 to 4 days until a satisfactory glycemic control is achieved. So advice on SMBG and dose titration. Ask the patient to monitor classical and gold standard recommended 7-point formula of monitoring fasting plasma glucose and 2 hours, 2 hours after breakfast and pre-lunch, and 2 hours after post-lunch, and pre-dinner, and 2 hours after post-dinner, and blood sugar at 3 a.m. So follow-up advice is review after a month. So the progression to good glycemic control. So this is how to initiate and how to increase the dose with Idagasp. At the initiation, I started with the 10 units BD. At that time, the fasting plasma glucose is 210 and post-breakfast glucose is 360 and pre-lunch is 190 and post-lunch is 340 and pre-dinner is 200 and post-dinner is 390. A1C is 9.6 and his body weight is 90 kgs. And after 1 month, dose was escalated to 16 units in the morning and 14 units in the night. And fasting plasma glucose has come down to 140 milligrams per deciliter, and post breakfast was come down to 210 milligrams, and pre-lunch was come down to 130, and post-lunch is 240, and pre-dinner is 160 and post-dinner is 240. A1C has come down to 8.6, and at the end of 2 months, and dose was escalated to 20 units in the morning and 18 units in the night. The fasting plasma glucose is 120 and post breakfast is 182, pre-lunch is 110 and post-lunch is 180, pre-dinner is 130 and post-dinner is 190, A1C is 7.9, and after 3 months dose was further escalated to 22 units in the morning and 20 units in the night, and fasting plasma glucose is 90 milligrams per deciliter and post breakfast is 160 milligrams per deciliter, pre-lunch is 120 milligrams and post-lunch is 140 milligrams, and pre-dinner is 100 and post-dinner is 165, and HbA1c is 7.1, and his has a reduction of weight of 5 kilograms with the lifestyle modification and diet and exercise. So there is reduction of weight of 5 kilos with good glycemic control. So what are the learnings? A case of pterygium uncontrolled on multiple OADs initiating with the Idagasp. This is a simple injection to initiate, optimize and intensify, and very much convenient to the patient. And Idagasp from once a day to twice a day has reduced all blood sugars, fasting, pre-breakfast, post-breakfast and pre-lunch, post-lunch, pre-dinner, post-dinner, and blood sugars including HbA1c very smoothly to the target. Almost no major hypoglycemias with 1 or 2 minor hypoglycemias, and this reduces the risk of future complications of uncontrolled diabetes mellitus like microvascular complications and macrovascular complications, and this improved patient has improved quality of life with no hypos. So, importance of the glycemic control under current situation. Well-managed diabetes matters, particularly this COVID-19 season. So, according to the American Association of the Clinical Endocrinologists, diabetes and high glucose levels are associated with increased complications, respiratory failure and mortality in hospitalized patients with COVID-19. According to American Diabetes Association ADA, your risk of getting very sick from COVID-19 is likely to be lower if your diabetes is well managed. According to the International Diabetes Federation, people with pre-existing medical conditions such as diabetes, heart disease and asthma appear to be more vulnerable to becoming severely ill with the COVID-19 virus. According to the RSDI, Research Society for Study of Diabetes in India, when people with diabetes do not manage their diabetes well and experience fluctuating blood sugars, they are generally at risk for a number of diabetes related complications. So, coming to the summary, evidence supports use of once-a-day ida gas for insulin initiation as it offers superior glycemic control with safety as compared to the once-a-day basal insulin, and ida gas offers the convenience of single device as a co-formulation providing the similar control with improved safety as compared to basal plus bolus regimen. In a routine clinical care, ida gas is simple, safe and effective solution for initiating insulin therapy in people with T2DM. Thank you.